Have you ever thought about how motorhomes and campervans have so much wasted potential?
Yeah, I used to have one, and every month that you don't drive it, it's a waste of road tax and insurance.
Meanwhile, you've got things to do. You've got to help your mate move house next week. You've got to go to a B&Q and pick up a bunch of ply, or you've got to help your kids fix their car, but all your tools are in your garage, not theirs. And you look at your motorhome on the driveway, taking up space of a vehicle that could actually help you do all of those things.
But what if it didn't have to be that way?
What if you could have both?
Meet Moose.
Hi, Moose.
Our old 7.5-ton Mercedes 814 that we're converting into a travelling tiny home. He's perfect for our future off-grid plans. The problem is, once we park up for good on our own land, this little bulletproof truck will go to waste, when it could be useful for so many of our upcoming projects. So we started wondering, could we transform this truck into a true multitasker? In this video, we'll unveil Moose's Modular Mounting System, share the biggest challenges we expect, and explain why it just might be genius.
Before we landed on this modular truck concept, we did weigh up a few other options, like a pickup truck with a fifth wheel trailer or a tiny house on a tractor unit. There really is no other solution out there that does exactly what we're envisaging, and as far as we can tell, no one's really tried this exact approach before either.
So here's Moose in virtual 3D, based on some very accurate photos and measurements we did. I think it's pretty close. So here's our plan. This is what it is. We're going to be adapting our truck chassis to use shipping twist lock mounts. The same technology that's used worldwide on all the standard shipping containers. And they're designed to hold massive 40-foot long shipping containers up to like 20 or 30 tons. So if they're strong enough for that, they'll be strong enough for what we've got planned.
It's a proven system. They're readily available. You seem to be able to buy everything that you need, and they're surprisingly affordable as well. The twist lock points themselves can be welded or bolted onto the chassis in specific positions, giving us a modular foundation. And then as long as the things that we build to go on top of them line up with those same twist locks, you got a modular system, baby.
We'll have to figure out how to get it on and off, but we'll touch on that in a bit. The brilliant thing is that theoretically this system can work on any suitable chassis cab. So you could look at an Iveco Daily or a Fuso Canter, Mitsubishi one, or the Isuzu range. Our primary focus is going to be on the Habitat for now. It's essentially a tiny house that sits on these mounting points, and we're designing it so we can drop the Habitat off entirely when we need the truck for other things. And if you stick around, we'll dive a little bit deeper into the interior designs that we've got. So here are our mounting points. Usually you'll have a subframe that sits on top, and it'll be like a grid affair that will run the full length of the chassis, and that's what supports all the weight. But in our case, we're kind of making a design that's similar to a skeleton trailer that's used for transporting shipping containers. So they're going to be super beefy, and here you can see the twist locks. So they'll be bolted to the chassis. Luckily there's a lot of bolt holes already throughout the chassis. So that's basically our subframe that's going to be holding on all the modules. Everything on this is all kind of prototype and our initial design and ideas, so everything can change. So if we have a look at a basic camping pod or habitat design first. So I've gone for kind of a typical overlander style. It's not your favourite style visually, but it's just an example for now. And you can see that it sits on the mounting subframe underneath.
So there are corresponding holes for those twist lock mounts, exactly the same shape and size as shipping containers. So we can just use off-the-shelf bits and bobs.
You can buy the shipping container corners that are cast and in aluminium as well.
Which is great.
But yeah, because we'll probably end up building the majority of our habitat out of aluminium. The subframe will be steel.
Okay, so the first big question is, how do we get these massive modules on and off of the back of the truck?
I reckon me and you start working out. So there's a few ways. If you have a look around in the industry at other demountable truck bodies, they work in one of a couple of ways. Usually the chassis of the truck has hydraulic rams built in that lift up the box of the truck, and it'll have clamps and stuff to hold it in place. So you loosen the clamps, lift up the box with these, and then you manually slide out or insert solid legs, and then you lower the hydraulic rams on the chassis and the truck can drive away. Or you have airbag suspension in the truck that allows you to raise or lower the truck. So you would drive in with your truck high, put the same manual legs in place or fold out legs on the box, and then lower the truck and drive out. Now, we could possibly install airbag suspension on the truck, but it's quite involved. So we're not going to look at that for now. So really the only method of those two that would work would be having the hydraulic rams lifting our modules off. But then we would have to have very beefy legs to support all this, because really the ones on the box trucks, they're only really temporary. You know, we need legs that we can have on the Habitat and not really have to worry about it wobbling or like getting loose over time. And also we want to be able to level it as well. Motorhomes, they usually have chocks under the wheels, that kind of stuff. So that leads me to a design that's fairly simple. You would have seen them on lots of trucks and they're usually called outriggers, something like that. So you're gonna want these legs to stick out a little bit wider than the width of the truck. Oh. You don't want to like run over your legs with your wheels, or like you don't want a part of the chassis or subframe to hit the legs. So you want to space the legs wider.
Oh, when you're driving in and out, you mean?
A wider base is more stable as well. So I'm just going to take off the camper so you can see them. So it would look something like that. I've coloured it all in nice primary colours so we can see the difference. Any questions about this?
I see you've got hydraulics.
Yes.
But they're in the legs, not in the chassis. I mean, there's no like lifting up the box off the chassis.
Yeah. So this is the thing. These legs will all be part of the module. So each module will have its own pair of hydraulic legs depending on its use case. So these ones, where it's red, that will be attached or built into the subframe of the Habitat. And these legs will be able to fold up like that and then swing in to the chassis. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Impressive? Are you impressed? Took me so long to make that.
It's very good.
So it'll fold out, the legs will come down, and it can lift up however long it needs to lift up, you know, to clear the twist locks and anything else, you know, just to be safe. Lift it up a couple 100 mil, and then the truck will drive out. And then these will lower all the way down. And then the Habitat isn't, you know, really high up in the air. Or if you want to, you could raise it up and have a nicer view. Or use storage underneath.
Or you could raise it up if you're going to be more permanent. You can raise it up and then build a wall underneath it.
Yeah, or have like a little garage underneath, you know?
Yeah, you could just build another structure, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Because you must have a hydraulic inside the leg as well.
Yeah, so there's two.
How strong are they though? Because the Habitat might weigh a couple of tons.
Hydraulics are so strong. I haven't spec'd out the exact size and stuff, but I doubt the strength of hydraulic rams will be our limiting factor. It will be my ability to design and manufacture these things.
And it fits at the front as well?
Yeah, so the front might be a bit more difficult to fit in around the batteries and the air tank, and the other side has the fuel tank. So we could have a slightly different method where these, rather than underneath it, attach to the end and folds out instead. So if I put the camping pod back on, you'll see that the mounting points are all going to be part of the structure of the module that's on top. I had another design of a different type of leg. So this is another option that you could do, is just having a straight down leg like that built in. But you'd need a very beefy hydraulic ram to be able to support that, because the more it extends, the more susceptible you are to buckling. So
yeah, that looks weak.
Yeah, and also it's going to be very close to the wheels, and you would have to bring the subframe mounting points in a fair bit to clear the rams, because otherwise when you try and back out, you're just going to crash into your own legs. So I didn't really like that idea. Moved on.
What do you guys think? We'd love to hear your ideas if you know of any systems that are out there that we haven't thought of yet.
Yes, any proper engineers that actually know what they're doing would be really useful.
Let us know. So can we have a look at some of the different modules?
Can we? I've been having all kinds of fun with this. Here is the most simple setup that we'll probably make second after the Habitat. A nice flatbed.
Simple.
Now the cool thing about these twist locks are that they go right the way through. So you could mount things to the top of this flatbed using the same mechanism that's holding the flatbed to the chassis.
Like what?
I like it. Well, it might not really fit on this truck payload wise and like just the size of it, but that is a high cube 10-foot shipping container that you could have on the back. I'm not sure what's happened to my textures, but we'll move on. What you could use is something like a small storage crate that could be forklift on. And now you've got a modular system on top of a modular system. Or if you didn't want that, maybe a small hydraulic crane.
Oh.
You know, you got to get things on. You could probably install some ramps at the back here. The legs would still work in this application, be built into the subframe.
And you've got the platform.
Yeah. You see this design, I've also put in some storage lockers on the side. I am going to briefly talk about the legal stuff later, but you do need to have rails or something along the side of commercial vehicles. When I did the camping pod, I also allowed for storage to take that place. But I think what we're going to do is have the storage boxes permanently attached to the chassis, because that way it acts as those legal rails that need to be there. Okay, next. Something that would be useful on our land, I think, is a tipper.
A little tipper.
A little tipper, because it would very quickly overcome the payload of our truck. So we've probably got about 3 to 4 tons max on a bare chassis. So here's a little mini tipper. But you think about it, you know, we're working on the land, we need to move some stuff, move some dirt, do some other things. I don't know, I've just always wanted a dump truck. This idea I think is really cool. So if we have our big plot of land and we're working on one project and then another project that's down into the woods or something, down the field, this way we can have a mobile workshop that travels to the project. I think this is.
We can drop it off and leave it there while we do the project, and when it's done, pick it up and take it back. Yeah,
exactly. So I think that's super cool. Have some solar on the roof. This would be quite cool, a mobile power station. You know? You can try your solar out in different places on your land. You know?
Or you can like bring your workshop down and then go back and get your power back.
Station. Yeah.
What are they? Tables?
Batteries. Batteries, maybe a backup generator, something like that. This one, this is my favourite. This is a little special one just for us. You want a spa day? Just where do you want it? You know, we're not limiting ourselves to a hotel. Sometimes you want your spa on a south-facing field. Sometimes you want the spa in the woods.
Is that a sauna?
Of course it's a sauna. Hot tub, sauna, truck. Because we are kind of thinking that we could offer some sort of camping experiences and things like that on our land later on. And I think something like that would be pretty cool.
I think we're starting to get really quite ahead of ourselves. But
of course.
Just to be able to have the habitat on the back for travelling and then swap it out and have a flatbed, already that's really useful. So anything more than that is for funsies.
Yeah, I may have got a little carried away, but there you go.
So reining everything in, what about the weights and things? Let's go back to the habitat. So you've got these 4 big legs made of steel, I'm assuming. How much weight do we have to play with, and how much weight is this whole system going to take out of our overall allowance?
So, done some rough calculations, and at the moment, Moose as a bare chassis can probably hold around 3.5 tons safely. So our plan is to design and build this in a way that it has an aluminium skeleton, and then we're going to use insulated laminated panels that fill in all the gaps. That is what the frame or the structure is going to be. There'll probably be some more uprights, and then on the inside we'll fill these gaps with probably an aluminium outside or fiberglass outside layer, probably about 80 to 100 mil of insulation, and then an inside layer again, which will possibly be a fiberglass or something that we can then decorate on top of.
And how much does that weigh?
So, rough calculations, looking at about 500 to 600 kilograms.
Okay.
For that design. And this is about 5.5 meters, which is about 18 foot.
And as wide as we can legally go?
Yes, which is 2.5 meters or about 8 foot.
But then how much do the legs weigh?
I haven't quite added it up yet, but when I do, I'll put it on screen. Hopefully future me will do it now. Okay, thank you, future me.
Okay, I think it's time for the sneak peek into our habitat design.
Okay. It's not 100%, but it's a really good example of the type of layout that we've got in mind. Boom, there we go. I've kind of cut away all the sides so you can see the frame still and then all the interior.
The sofa's hanging out.
The sofa is hanging out. If I go to the top-down view, you should be able to see some more. There's quite a lot of things hanging out. And that's because we plan on putting 2 pretty substantial slide-outs in it.
It's the only way that we can fit everything that we want to fit in and be comfortable, because it's going to be a long-term living for us. We're just so inspired by the American RVs and the insane amount of slide outs they have, and just how much it opens the space out just by having, you know, a foot or 2 sliding out.
Where's the bed? Huh? Where's the bed? So the bed is going to come down from the ceiling, and so there's a lot of details missing. So this wall over here, for example, will probably have a lot of storage on for like our clothes and that kind of thing. So this area will be relaxation and also bedroom as well. And then yeah, over here we have our toilet. Let me just hide this thing. Small bathroom, shower, toilet. Not figured out what toilet we want yet. But yeah, we've got a nice kitchen with a little island in the middle.
Yeah, it would double up as a little breakfast bar, which would be really good. And then there's one more really crazy thing that we want.
It's in this big wooden box. Let me hide everything else. Let me explain. It still might not be clear what this is. Basically, we need to work a lot at our desks. Desks and the chairs and stuff also take up a lot of room, and they're just a pain.
Especially if you need one each.
We also really like the anti-gravity chairs, where you can lie down.
It's ergonomic.
And that's basically what this is. If I put on, you'll kind of see where we'll be. Does that make sense? Again, it's not quite to scale, haven't figured everything out, but that's our idea for our super ergonomic desks.
And then you've got us climbing in through little mouse holes.
So I'll go in the top one. I want the top bunk. This is what I'm calling
bunk desk.
TM. Bunk desk TM. Yeah. So that'll be there. Let me just show you real quick what it'll look like with the exterior walls on. So it'll be something like that. I've left some holes so you can see in.
Yeah, we get to place windows, but they will be strategically placed. And it also means that there's space through at the end of that corridor. We can have a pass through to the cab.
Yeah, what do you think?
Love it.
Oh, hang on, I've got to put the bed up. There's probably a whole bunch of other legal things I need to consider that I don't yet know about. So I'll be contacting the DVSA and the DVLA just to make sure that what we're planning is going to be legal, and also how to make it safe. And I expect there'll be some sort of reclassification, because at the moment it's classified as a box truck. So it'll probably be a flatbed or potentially a specialist vehicle. But when I hear back from them, I will be doing a video on our Patreon. So if you're really interested to find out the results of that, head on over there and you'll be able to check it out soon, hopefully.
Well, that's our grand vision for a do-anything shape-shifting truck.
We'll keep tweaking the design and looking at new modules and making sure that it actually all holds together on real roads, because honestly, we've not seen anyone else do this.
Yeah, the more we think about this, the more ideas we have. And we can't wait to hear your thoughts and ideas as well.
So if you like the video and want to see if we can actually pull it off, be sure to subscribe and check out our free Patreon as well. And we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.